Hi guys, my name is Vitoria and I will talk about the media fascination with serial killers and their metamorphosis into stars. Hope you enjoy! In 2015, the movie Look Who's Back was released. In this movie we see Adolf Hitler waking up in the present day, in the same place where his bunker was in the past. In the movie, Hitler ends up becoming a phenomenon in media that confuses him with a comedian. He uses this popularity to enter in politics, with speeches extremely similar to those who he gave in the past. We can see this movie as a clear criticism of the importance that the media has in the people's lives and how it can turn anyone into a star, even if this person is Hitler. Media has the power to give people voices, good or bad. From the popular Netflix show You, who presents as a boy next door, who happens to be a stalker, to the trailer for Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, who show us the serial murderer Ted Bundy, audiences have turned to social media to discuss the growing fascination with serial killers. But why we are fascinated by serial killers? The answer is terrifying easy. Perhaps what pleases us most is being terrified. One of the explanations for the appeal of serial killers is that they serve some kind of social function, allowing us to indulge our most vengeful fantasies. We don't have to act, and once the killer is caught, we don't have to feel guilty about it. In the United States, a 1998 federal law determined that the term means a series of 3 or more murders in which at least one was committed in the United States, and which has similar characteristics that suggest the possibility that the crimes were committed by the same person or group. In Brazil, no similar definition exists in the legislation, and homicides are always judged on a case-by-case basis. The forensic psychiatrist Marcelo Caixeta says that there are psychological and biological factors behind the actions of serial killers. The serial killer would have some lesion on the front region of the brain that would affect the processing of emotions. So it was only in 1980 that the term serial killer gained popularity. Now they had a term to describe the crime and a face to put on the crime: Ted Bundy. Bundy quickly became the poster boy for serial murderer, not only because of the number or severity of his crimes, but also because on the surface he seemed to personify the American ideal. He was handsome, charming, educated, and even had political aspirations. That disconnect between appearance and reality came to see a defining trait of serial killers, and is one of the main reasons Americans find them so fascinating. But another reason why serial killers such as Bundy inspire fascination is because of the way they are presented to the public. Law enforcement and the FBI were presented as being in control of the problem. Alongside the iconic figure of the serial killer emerged, the equally figure of the FBI profiler or mind hunter emerged too. The popular culture and law enforcement were effectively working hand in hand to provide the American public with information about serial killings that was exciting and educational. In other words, if the public was inclined to feel guilty about the interest in serial killings, the mass media would tell them that being fascinated by serial killers was acceptable, because in the process of consuming serial killers pop culture they will learn about psychology and law enforcement. Oh, and this is a poster for Netflix show, which is about these FBI agents who hunt psychopaths and serial killers. It's amazing, you should watch. With this background in mind, it's easy to understand why some serial killers could be presented as nice figures by the media. But this does not only happen in real life. Hannibal Lecter and Dexter are examples of fictional serial killers that have a legion of fans. While Lecter uses his traumatic past to justify his behavior, Dexter only kills other killers. This makes the viewer feel a certain level of empathy for them, even if they are presented as dangerous black killers. Still, it's hard to explain some of the more extreme examples of our fascination with serial killers, such as memorabilia, which refers to the online sale of artwork, letters, and other items from serial killers. You can even buy a lock of Charlie Manson's hair. Guys, I don't know about you, but I thought this was so creepy and sick, but it exists, and there are people out there who buy it. I have to say that I was so scared and worried. The information on the internet is really bizarre. Memorabilia is the most bizarre and apparently inexplicable example of our collective fascination with serial murder. The things available on memorabilia websites differ only in a degree, rather the kind of from the constant stream of movies, books, magazines, television shows, calendars, action figures, websites, t-shirts that has given the figure of the serial murderer a visibility and fame. In a culture defined by visibility rather than meritocracy as the precondition for fame, serial killers like Bundy, Lecter, and Dexter have become the biggest stars. Serial killing is a age-old problem. It took the rise of mass media and the mass production to create the conditions for the rise of serial murder in the modern world. Since the days of Jack the Ripper, a pantheon of other serial killers has captivated the public imagination through the representation in the media. The Zodiac Killer, Ted Bundy, Henry Lee Lucas, Jeffrey Dahmer, just name a few. As a culture of serial murder expands, fictional serial killers proliferate in the media landscape. Norman Bates, Francis Delahaye, Leatherface, Hannibal Lecter, Dexter, and others. Serial killers as they exist in the popular imagination are media construction and sociological, criminological, psychological realities. This came from fears or anxiety that is specific to a particular time and place, which also means as a time of the cultural change, the serial killer as a character in this popular media will change too. Newspapers like to give killers nicknames, which sometimes resemble affectional nicknames. Ted Bundy was known as a love-bite serial killer. Certainly, the instinct to label the killer in some colorful way is natural, but criminologists who have studied serial killers for more than 20 years say that naming a dangerous criminal like this can do more to see him in the public's collective memory. It also may encourage him to fulfill our expectations. Becoming a popular cultural celebrity is a more important part of the motivation that inspires serial killers to continue committing murder. Once they are identified with a superstar, the frequency of murder increases. No longer satisfied with their obscurity, they seek to prove that they deserve the superstar status to which they have been assigned. The Zodiac Killer, for example, sent letters to newspapers and if to the police, ordering the letters be put on the covers of newspapers, otherwise he would kill more people. He sent cold letters. He said that he had even written his name in one of them. The police never managed to decode his letters and the murderer was never caught. Zodiac knew how to use the fame they given to him. He loved the attention. He won, since he was never caught, and he played with the police, the media, and the people. The superstar status helped motivating him, but it also inspired countless other ignored and alienated Americans to become copycat killers in order to achieve their own degrees of fame. Potential copycats may recognize that the higher the body count, the greater the terror they cause in the communities, the more the images are to make the cover of some large and famous newspaper. This, of course, is a key to understanding the contagion of school snipers in the recent years. Young shooters like Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris in the 1999 massacre of Columbine High School can be seen as heroes in the eyes of some troubled teenagers. Not only did they avenge schoolyard bullies and nasty teachers, but they are also famous for it, and they have their faces all over the news. These two teens knew they would be dead, but it didn't matter as much to them as they believed that they would live forever thanks to the crime and the media. Doing a Columbine became a code phrase for a shooting up in a school. This is sick, and media help it. America's preoccupation with turning monsters into celebrities goes far beyond putting them on the covers of newspapers or reporting these in television. They are authors of popular books and sometimes contain their own poetry and thoughts. When, for example, there is a sniper on the loose, the media has not only the right but also the responsibility to focus a lot of attention on the case so that people can take the necessary precautions to avoid being the next victim. This is what they should have done in Brazil in the case of Lázaro in Goiás. But what we saw was the media using the case for ratings, journalists together with the police turning the hunt into circles, and the newspapers turning into some kind of urban legend. Giving an air of the mystery to the case is to send a message to the killer and those who identify with the killer that the road to the fame and the glory is paved with the bodies of innocent people. We lock up murderers because we consider them to be an imminent danger to society. People like this cannot live in society. They are too dangerous. So if they are so dangerous, why do we allow their words, thoughts, stories, and faces to gain fame? Worse, why do we give those people fame? Besides the human fascination, there is a slight deeper explanation for why people are so interested in this kind of story. The forensic psychiatrist Marcelo Cacheta says that interesting is a way to dealing with our own aggression. The media continue to give voices to murderers even after they are dead. Continue to bring these horrible murders to the light of the day. When will this end? Why do we have to keep talking about those people? Nobody can answer that, because deep down we have to admit that we like to watch movies about those people. I have watched 1,000 of these movies and read articles about them. I read that Bunch's book, and as I said, it inspired fascination with the dark, with forbidden. Some said that the human being is attracted to the dark and to the dangers. Sometimes I think this is true. Well, guys, I hope you liked this presentation, and this is it. Thank you.